Hey, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric Hobbs.
And I'm David Woldingen.
And hey, Mizzou football is back. It is game week. We're going to preview Mizzou's matchup Thursday against South Dakota. But first, guys, go ahead. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter X. I'm going to call it that for a long time because I don't know what else to do. David, it's game week.
Yeah, it is. And we're playing South Dakota, not to be confused with the powerhouse of South Dakota State. So I want to throw that out there right away.
Yeah, not the Jackrabbits. Not the Jackrabbits.
Not the national champions who can knock off big teams, although you can never write an FCS team off completely.
Right.
Totally different team.
Yeah. So, it's here Thursday night. One of the few games on SEC Nation in Columbia, and Tiger Stripe going on. If you're confused about that, check out social media. It's posted. Guys, it's a big opportunity to start the season off on the right foot. And I think, the obvious place to look, quarterback. We discussed this before we started filming. My question and the way I'd phrase it is, who's going to take the first snap at quarterback this season for Missouri, and why is it Brady Cook?
And
that's how I feel about it.
And while I agree with Eric that it probably is going to be him, I could totally see them putting Sam Horn in there first, only because they have yet to see him really in game time situations where he can make decisions and plays on his own. So they kind of have an idea of what Brady Cook can do with the ball and the offense in game time action. So I would say start Sam Horn right off the bat, see what he can do, and then throw Cook in there later to get his reps as well.
Yeah, I agree. That's what should happen. But I'm really thinking about Grink, his approach to starters who are established and taking them out for any reason. You go back to last year when everybody had the torches, the pitchforks out for Brady Cook, and Drink said ahead of the New Mexico State game, "Hey, Sam Horn will play." Everybody's, "Oh, well, here we go. All right, makes sense. Here we go." Well, he came in garbage time for one series, and there's nothing to be taken from that. So, yeah, I would love to see Sam Horn take the first snap of the season. I don't think he will, but Sam Horn absolutely has to have extended playing time in the first half. That has to happen. Otherwise, you may as well just say this never was a quarterback competition, and it's Brady Cook until he can't walk.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, whether they switch the quarterbacks every series or if they go first quarter or second quarter. I would rather see them do it first quarter, second quarter, in all honesty, just so they can get a flow with the offense and get used to the game speed and all that. If you're switching every series, it can mess up the whole cadence, your whole offensive line, just the whole offense in general.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, then I think you have to have Sam Horn play the first quarter and then Brady Cook in the second quarter, because we've seen him in game time. That's not going to rattle him. He has that experience. If you get Sam Horn for just the second quarter, well, by the time he gets out there, it could be 21-28 nothing, and some of that intensity of playing in a close game is gone, and then you're losing the significance of the snaps that Horn would be playing. So if you're going to go by quarters, then I think you have to go Sam Horn first. If you go by series, I guess it doesn't really matter. Who knows? I get the feeling it'll be by series personally, even though I like by quarter better for the reasons you laid out. Now,
anyway, moving on, Eric, what do you want to see out of the offense?
Well, so there's a lot I want to see out of the offense. What I was about to bring up was the offensive line. And we're looking at Connor Tollison specifically. He's added what we think is probably about 15 pounds of muscle based on rumored playing weights from last year to this year. And the snaps. They are reported to be much better, more consistent. There were countless plays that were meant to be like a jet sweep or something, where the timing was thrown off by a snap at Brady Cook's ankles or above his head or what have you. And that just nuked the entire play before it had a chance. So having better snaps, not having plays just ruined by timing, and the fact that it affects other offensive line positions. With Tollison apparently going to be the center again, that allows Cameron Johnson, the transfer from Houston, to stay at his guard position. Looks like it might be right guard where he's playing left guard, but still, it's less of a transition than going from guard to center. That's good. And then you got Arma Membu out at right tackle. He finished season at right tackle last year, and he was solid. So Connor Tollison being stronger, more effective, snapping the ball, that can impact 3 positions on the offensive line. So I want to see how that plays out. And, if I were to put it in one phrase, I want to see push when there's running during a run play. I want to see a push on the offensive line.
Yeah, I was going to say the biggest thing for me, not even Connor Towson, I just want to see them open up holes for the running backs. They struggled last year even against lesser opponents, FCS opponents. I want to say the first game of the year last year, they really struggled just to run the ball, and it really raised my eyebrow at the beginning of the season. So Drake has said this is probably the most improved unit in fall camp.
Yeah.
I want them to show me that they're the most improved unit in fall camp and just dominate.
Yes.
Other than that, the other offensive thing I want to take a look at is how Kirby Moore, our new offensive coordinator, calls the game. Are we going to still run the same exact type of offense, or is he going to put his twist on it? And my biggest question from the last couple of years is he going to incorporate tight ends? And that also looks back to the line play. If the line is doing their job, making their blocks and holding their own, it allows your tight ends to go down for pass plays, and it opens up even more options on your offense.
Well, and let's go back to Kirby Moore. There's just the fact that he's calling the plays. We saw it last season when Hamdan took over the play calling duties. The offense did better, and then he left for a job at Boise State, I think. Mm-hmm. And then Drink was back to calling plays for the bowl game against Wake Forest, and we saw the offense go back to it reverted. I remember doing the preview video for that game saying my fear is this offense will revert, and sure enough, it did. It was helpless out there. The fact that Drink's not calling plays, I think that's step one to having this unit improve. Incorporating tight ends. Part of the reason I think that they didn't do much of anything last year is just talent. This year, though, you've got a pair of freshmen. You got Jordan Harris and the St. Louis area native Brett Norfleet, the 4-star. They both have walked in as freshmen and are perhaps 1-2 on the depth chart. There are those in the media who say it's a matter of time before Norfleet is the starter. And when they say that, they mean within this season. So that's exciting. Safeties will not be able to just hang back and wait for a deep ball. They're going to have to actually respect a tight end because they're going to actually be running routes. And if the offensive line is improving their blocking, then a tight end is not going to have to be a blocking insurance policy, and they're freed up to go run those routes. So it all ties in, and that, I think, is huge.
Yeah, exactly. Defensively, Eric, what are you looking for in this game?
Defensively, there's only 2 things. One, Ken Bailey's not playing, the linebacker. So who's out there to replace him? And how do they perform? Because let's face it, you got two linebackers. If one goes down, it's not like there's tons and tons of guys getting experience. So, how do they perform without Chad Bailey out there? But then the big question that we had going in, can they generate pressure on the quarterback, particularly from the defensive end position? Against FCS South Dakota, you would hope that they would not have to blitz to get home to the quarterback. But we'll see.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those games where the front four can really, show what they're made of, show their improvements from the year before, and not only stop the run, but get pressure and force quick throws on a quarterback, contain them, do what you need to do. South Dakota has a new offensive coordinator, and they're trying to possibly change to a more pass-heavy type offense. Before they did a lot of power running. So it's going to be interesting to see if they try run the ball against us or throw over the top. And if they go to a throwing game, what can Mizzou do to disrupt that? Well, you help out your corners and your secondary by getting pressure on the quarterback. So if they can do that consistently and just completely dominate the line, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Now, let's talk a little bit about South Dakota, just kind of who are they? So, nicknamed Coyotes, they play out of the Missouri Valley Conference in FCS. They were 3-8 a year ago. Their coach, he's going to be running around the sidelines in a shirt and tie. So that's fun. And then, as David mentioned, they've got a new offensive coordinator like Missouri, and they are transitioning from a run-heavy kind of approach to a more wide open, throw the ball around type deal. So, how will that go for them with the personnel? How well do their personnel adjust? Because they still got, for the most part, guys who were recruited into a run-heavy system. So for this season, they're in a transition. And for them, the first game of the year, maybe they view it as well, we're probably not going to win. Let's just go for broke, throwing the football. And if not, if we get down 30 points, treat it like a scrimmage. We'll see what happens there. Their defense, their thing is all about stopping the run. I like the way an article from the spring from Rock M Nation phrased it. I'm starting to blank on it now, but I always stop the run and let everything else sort itself out after. That was the gist of it. So, a good matchup for Missouri in the sense that, at least within their level at the FCS, they're good at stopping the run. So, going back to Missouri's offensive line, can they dominate this South Dakota defensive line? There's no reason that they can't. Looking at player weights, everybody's going to have a good 15, 20 pounds of weight advantage at a minimum. And that includes Connor Tollison. Their D tackles are not really much more than about 280.
One thing to note, they're going up against Aiden Bowman, who transferred from Iowa State and is a left-handed quarterback. So it's something you don't see very much in college as a left-handed thrower. It'll be interesting to see how they attack him.
Yeah, so, coming off right tackle, out at, your 5 technique on the opposite side. So that could be interesting. Could be something where it's a wrinkle for Missouri to adjust to while they are trying to figure out their defensive end position, right? Now, David, predictions, we're not going to do a whole lot of analysis here. We'll give scores in a minute here, but Missouri big for both of us, right? So I want to say one thing that you could see out of this team that will impress you. And I say that with the major qualifier. Mizzou fans should expect dominance against an FCS team. So with that major caveat, what I would see that could impress me is a quarterback, whether it be Brady Cook or Sam Horn, connecting on the deep ball. I say that because when Missouri threw it, when Brady Cook threw deep balls, he was consistently missing them just all over the place. And How much of that was the torn labrum in his throwing shoulder? Well, I think we're about to find out. So if he's healthy, his shoulder's strong, maybe that's 80-90% of the difference, and he's money and at least a viable threat. I want to see that. That would be an encouraging sign. So it's not like defenses themselves were stopping Missouri from the deep ball. They just couldn't connect.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be the defensive line. Can the front four get all the stops they need to get all the pressure they need to get? Can they force the quarterback to make quick decisions, quick throws? Can they disrupt the RPOs if South Dakota runs any of that? If they're constantly in the backfield getting tackles for loss and doing what they need to do, that will really impress me because that's something they need all year, especially against those teams like Georgia and especially Tennessee, where if you can get pressure on a quarterback, you're saving your defensive backs all that hassle covering receivers. So that's my focal point is if they can get in the backfield constantly and keep that pressure all game, that's what will really impress me.
Yeah. So, David, let's get into predictions here. There's for a matchup with an FCS team, no line, at least not that I've found. That's pretty typical. So I'm just gonna make up. I think I'll go with yours, David. You suggested 32 points as just a hypothetical line. Again, yes, we're making that up. I have not seen it available for any financial investment of any kind. That's a big number. I think you're going to have Missouri tinkering on offense, and I think it's going to keep them from putting up a lot of the numbers that you would need. So I'm going to go with Missouri to win and win big, 44-16. That would not cover a 32-point spread. Still comfortable win.
Meanwhile, on my side of things, I'm going to say Mizzou's going to win 52-10. I think even after they've seen enough of Cook and Horn, you have Garcia and the wings waiting to come on. And then you have all these younger players who are going to get their shot too. And I think they're just going to run their offense like normal just because they want to see what they have for depth purposes. So I think Mizzou will not take their foot off the gas. It will be interesting to see how much of the playbook we will see in this game, though, with Kansas State coming up in 2 games. But I do think they will win 52-10 and they will cover.
Yeah, now I'll throw out we were both pretty good overall records. This spread, David, you kicked my butt last year. You were I think you were a game below 500. I think you were 6-7 against the spread. I was 3-10 against the spread, even though I was 10-3 picking the game. So
hey, in my defense, I had a couple of games where I almost had to score perfect.
Yeah. Oh no, oh, you were pissed a few games. I remember that.
Yeah.
Late field goal took it away or whatever. Hey, season's here, guys. Enjoy it.
I know I will. And stay tuned because after the game, we'll have our post-game thoughts. So until then, keep watching us here at Under the Arc Sports.